So let me show you that. See all the cutting pecks in the box. And this is orange, it's ever hot. And stuck this handy dandy brush. So all right, in the beginning, look at all the pipes. This is what it's gonna get to. Well, it's gonna get past that. Well, here we are. So in the first episode, this is a recap. Oops. Still hitting my head on the pipes. Of the finish. There's no pipes in here at all. All the big pipes are gone. Get a shark bite because as we were cutting this, and the pipe was so heavy we were trying to that it was connected to. So when the saw came through it, hit the copper pipe and boop, put a hole in it. It's like perfect. So we gotta go get it. Here's what it looks like now. With the copper tubing all over the place. That'll get redone too. That's the length of my finger. That's how big that is. That's a 3-inch, I guess. Maybe 4-inch. That was the biggest. Oh, and then this one here. This was the one that we were cutting this out. And when I cut it, which was here, when the blade went through, then it went and swung and hit the copper pipe, just like pink, and nicked it, and it started leaking. Alright, we got a bunch of pictures of what the equipment looked like before we started working on it. Here's the boiler, and this is the circulator that pushed water or circulated water through every radiator in the house. When heat was called for, this kicked on and all the radiators got warm. This is the 40-gallon hot water storage tank. This was probably installed the same time that the boiler was installed, so it's probably 14 years old at the time of this taping. And as you can see, there's a circulator there, so it was actually 3 zones, but not zoned for the house, but one set of all the radiators, and then one set for a back room radiator, and then the 3rd zone for the hot water storage tank. Now this is the hot water supply. This is what fed the big giant pipes that were in the house before we switched to PEX. These are the new PEX manifolds, including the one on the right, which has been installed. And as you can see, the new circulator, I should have just bought all new circulators. It would have been easier probably, and actually probably would have been cheaper for installation. So, well, live and learn. Okay. We put the wall up so that we can install our manifolds. Okay, and what we're going to have to do now is, well, you can see these are 2x4 pressure. This is where the manifolds are going to go. Okay, and down here we're going to put the circulators and probably the zone control here, which will then get tied to each circulator. Then down at the bottom would be the return pipe back to the boiler. And what I think I'm going to do is, this is the feed from the boiler too. I'm gonna remove that, and I'm gonna put this in, and then probably an elbow, and then go up, and then shoot across, and then connect up on top there. So we'll have the supply on the top board feeding to each manifold, and then the return is gonna come down from the manifold down to the circulators, and then the circulators will come into a common return. And at that point, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it the same way kind of that is here now. So come across and come over to here, someplace in here, and then get rid of this stuff. I'll be getting rid of that circulator. Or if I'm gonna just come down to here and put a plug here. So if I come to here, I'm gonna have to probably shoot across, go back up to the ceiling and come back down. So I'm starting to get the wires out here so I can disconnect that. This hot water tank, well, I found out is, I thought it was kind of small. They got 3/4 inch. My hot water tank at my house is a 1-inch supply. And I would think a 1-inch supply is going to give you more heat for something like that. And when I looked up the instructions or specs of this particular hot water heater, it's the 40. It says that the waters are 3/4. Surprised it's not. But the water supply and return, boiler water supply and return are 1-inch. And here's the manifolds. So this is a used manifold here, a little bit dirty. We're going to clean it up. This is for the second floor apartment. So beautiful. We're going to reuse that manifold, so that saves us a little bit of money. We'll clean it up. Here's the 10 port. That's going to be for the second floor. And this is the 12 port. And that's going to be for the first floor. And that's kind of the layout right there that we're going to have. And it's just going to fit on a 8-foot long, see if I can get over here, 8-foot long board. 4 boxes of 500 feet of 1/2-inch PEX aluminum PEX. And I got another box downstairs. So right now on site we have 2,500 feet. And I basically thought we'd be using about 28. So we'll see. For instance, these pipes that are coming down from the second floor, instead of it running entirely from the manifold, in the basement it'll come to an elbow, and then we're going to have a piece that'll go up to the radiator. So I have two pieces, supply and return. So those can be leftover pieces if I've got them that long. I'm guessing it's about a 15 foot. It's about 15 feet. Okay, what have we done so far? Well, I've got the wall up. We got the manifolds mounted on the backboard. The first one you see here, that's going to be for the apartment, that's a used manifold. It's about 10 years old. And here's two new manifolds. See if I can get around all these pipes. That's a 10 port. That's a 12 port manifold. So that's going to be for the first floor. And this one, bonk, second floor. And like I said, this is the apartment, which is on the second floor. So at the top, up here, we wanted room for 1-inch manifold. Not 1-inch manifold, 1-inch supply line coming from the boiler. And then they will go into each manifold. The red one's hot. The supply manifold. So they'll come down from here, down, and in. Now the bottom manifolds are the returns. So we're gonna come out here and then come down to this next board where we're gonna install the circulator. The circulators will get installed on this bottom board. All right, catch you later. We've got, we took one of the zone boxes out because we're not using it. Disconnected the power to this circulator here. Removed the power that was going to that circulator. Removed the power going to this circulator. We cut the pipes to these. See, they're off. Cut the pipe there. Got that out of the way. Took the straight and the elbow piece out and put it in an adapter. And that'll be our feed to the board. So it's on again because we still have to keep water hot. An update. We've, well, the manifolds have been installed on the boards, and the piping between the manifolds has begun. And here's the backboard. Now we were using recycled copper tubing. This copper tubing was actually in the system before. The not the elbows, not the fittings. The fittings are all new, but for instance, this is a new piece right here. This is reused copper, and there's a connection there, and then that goes across and hooks up into the manifolds. Okay, so we've got the boiler feed going over to the manifolds here. Now I gotta put a piece in here. Cool. So first we're gonna cut a piece to tie these two T's together, and then we're gonna move on to down below where we're gonna put the circulators in down here. Now some may wonder, why did I cut the 4x8 sheet of plywood in half? Well, originally I wasn't going to. I was gonna put everything on one 4x8 piece, and then underneath I was going to separate the supplies and returns to the manifolds further apart and put rectangular holes under each manifold so I could route the PEX through the holes. Then it dawned on me, I can't get a 4x8 piece of plywood in this basement, not through the stairway and not through the access hole basically we have. So cutting the 2x4 the plywood, 4x8 piece of plywood in half allowed me to mount it to give space between the manifolds and where I'm going to put the circulators. And it also gives me a nice space there to route the PEX tubing up to each manifold. So I hope this works. You know, the hard part here is making it look nice. All right. So that's it for today. I'll give you a tour. I'll give you an update when I'm done today. Well, we removed the circulator that was here. The trick here is, again, is to try to figure out how we're going to move this hot water tank onto the pad. Try to put it more center on the pad and give it enough room for it between the wall here, and still have room for the flow for the circulator. So I'm trying to do it in a way that I can, like, it'll only take a day to do it, so that the hot water tank will be up and running the same day that I disconnect it and move it. So that's going to be the trick. Because basically, I guess I have to really get this manifold setup running first, so that I can do the flow, the circulator off of that. In other words, I need to do it in such a way that when I move this tank, and where it goes is going to be its final resting point and its final connection. It'll be completely done. Get rid of all these crazy pipes all over the place here. We got pipe there, we got pipe there, they're all over. Today's update. Got the return line back to the board. As you can see over here, you can get underneath all these pipes. This is the return line, and it's coming over, coming down here and there. You'll see the circulators are all going into, let me back up here so you can see better the light on the circulators are all going into this bottom 1-inch copper tubing, and then it comes over, and then it goes up, and then it comes across, and then we're probably gonna take, I think that's a 1-inch there, but we're gonna put a 1-inch there and come up and then come across to that pipe over there. So we're probably start soldering so that I can then take the hot water heater, disconnect it, and reconnect it. So that's going to be a little bit of a job. Here's an update on our plumbing with the manifolds. They're all soldered. Everything's soldered in. It is on, but nothing's flowing, so it's cooling down. Let me show you here. Here's I got the tin foil to protect wood from the torch. I gotta take that out. That's the supply, and that's the return. And the supply and the return. I'm just turning around. Okay, so now that's the supply. This is the supply, and that's the return. You go further back, you can see the return is going down there, and this is the supply. Now we'll come over here, and this is the supply, and it's on. And that is using old copper. This is the return.
And right now it's just going into a 1" to 3/4 inch adapter. That will get removed. Once I get this, I'm able to get rid of this water tank. Not get rid of it, but disconnect it and turn it and then reconnect it. Then we'll fix all this piping mess, clean all that up, and then we can change this to 1" all the way down, get rid of that, and put a plug in here and get rid of all that. Oh, and here's the return, and this is a shut off on the return, and here's a faucet, and see, there's water in there. So, and you can see the steam coming off the pipe. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see it. So, the boiler was running about an hour ago. The water's still, it's at 190. Oops, sorry. It's like 190.
So the following pictures here are of the manifolds during the installation soldering process, and you can see where had to disconnect and remove parts from the manifold as we were soldering and putting it all back together. Trying to line up all the pipes. You'll see lines on some of the pipes. It was just basically after I set it up, I used the lines to put the stuff back in place where it was before for the soldering process. So part of the soldering process was making sure cleaning the pipes with emery cloth and wire brushes, putting flux on the tubing, and then connecting the tubing, and then using a acetylene torch to solder. Now this is building a PEX dispenser so that it would make it easy to or easier to install the PEX tubing in all its runs.
Today we started running our PEX tubing. Here's our PEX tubing dispenser, running supply and return at the same time. So we made this so that it'll roll off the tubing, off this roll. And our first run is the tubing to the front room. I guess it's going to be the living room now, but was the library. There's going to be, for the radiator here, that's the opening for the radiator here in that room. So this tubing here is going to be for that radiator. So we got to see how well these brackets work, being plastic. So anyways, ran it through here, made a few changes, came through here, and then we take the corner and we go down over there, and then we enter the boiler room area. So we come around the corner, running across. It's right back where the big pipe was, one of the big pipes. But we're running it right here across. Try to make it as easy as possible. And then, as you can see, it comes up from behind, and they'll get connected to the manifold. Some of the radiators are going to run down that crawl space, which is underneath the dining room. But trying to stay away from as much crawl space as possible, because the whole back of the house is going to be crawl space, so it's going to be a pain in the butt.
Okay, now we're showing uh, the PEX tubing connected to the manifolds, and the PEX uses compression fittings. This PEX does. The PEX out PEX uses compression fittings, and that's the compression fittings that are on the manifolds come with the manifolds. All the other compression fittings were bought to complete the system.
Update on how we're doing with getting the heating system up and running. So at this point, we've got PEX tubing running to 6 radiators on the second floor and 8 radiators on the first floor. Now, when I say they're running to the radiators, yeah, that's where they are. They're running to the radiators and not connected to the radiators. This is the main bundle right here, and that's at this point. And this is going to the front of the house. This one we see coming off right here, that's going to, this one's going to the phone booth, which is that little space in the hall on the first floor. So here I actually do have the tubing going up through the floor. Over here, we're continuing the main bundle and going down this wall. See if I can get closer. If that helps. Then we have a few going to the right because they're going to the small and large dining room, and then going to the second floor, bedroom on the second floor. Then we have this bundle going over here, and coming off that bundle right here, we've got the one going to the small dining room, and then I have to go around here. Oh, we're gonna go around, baby. We're going around. So now we're back to where it is, and as you can see, it's coming down through here, and this one's going to go to the second floor bedroom, and then we continue down here with 2 more radiators, and this is going to the front of the house, one on the first floor, which is going to be the new living room, and one that's going to go to the second floor, which is this one here, and that'll be there's a bedroom on the second floor that hasn't been used. We also have PEX running. Well, let's get over here. You can see it running here, and this is trying to keep, is a very low ceiling height, so we're trying to keep it up above so you're not hitting it with your head. And then it's coming over here in this section, which is the first house that was built, and this is going to the living room, and then these bundles continue on through this area. This one, this bundle here is going to go in these pipes, and that's going to go to the second floor, bedroom on the second floor. And then we have 2 more radiators here, which would have to go way on. Anyways, one of the radiators is going to the first floor front, which is the office, and then the other radiators are going up the wall in pipes to the second floor. There's a big radiator in the bedroom on the second floor. So that's that bundle. Then we got a third bundle, which is going through the crawl space underneath the dining rooms. And there's 2 radiators in there. One in the dining room, that's the fancy radiator. Well, and then one's going to go up to the second floor, which is a bedroom on the second floor. All right. Well, that's how it's coming along. Here's the dispenser. Working pretty good right now. Made some changes to it. Put new holes further down to keep the tubing further down on the bundle. That's working pretty good. So hopefully, well, we're gonna do now this crawl space. So this is gonna be a royal pain in the buttski. And then we got this PEX that I had cut here, and that's going to a radiator in the back room and the back bathroom. So, and that's not a cast iron radiator, that's one of those copper tubes with the fins on it, you know, baseboard. Anyways, I'm gonna see if I can just move this instead of running new. Just see if I can move it and then have it come in to here. So there we go at this point. All right.